I noticed the roads were a bit different when my mission president drove us to the mission home the first day. It kind of seemed like I don't know if there weren't any lanes, but we couldn't see any lanes, and so it just kind of looked like a free for all on the freeway. Um, Lots of cranes. We saw lots of cranes. Thought that was just kind of the first impression at night when we were driving through the city. Next day, we had a big conference. The mission president and the assistants introduced us to the mission, told us the mission goals, and gave us our companions. And then I met my companion, and I didn't have to travel too far because we were serving in that same city as the mission home. And so we got straight to work, and we went to tracting. I got to go tracting on my first day. Tracting in Russia is really interesting. They have everyone lives in these what they call doma. They're tall, sometimes 15, sometimes 30-story buildings that were built during the Soviet times. And as missionaries, we usually started at the very top of the building. We would start knocking at the very top of the building, and the reason I learned later that we started at the top of the building is so that if someone decides they don't like you or they're mad at you, then they're above you and you can easily get out. I don't know if that's true, but that's what we always did. We always started at the top and worked our way down. And to even get inside one of these buildings, you had to call people on what they call a domophone. I guess just a phone for these little houses. You type in the numbers, and you usually have to call a few people before you can even get inside. And then once someone lets you in, then you start knocking. And it was really interesting because knocking on these doors, people don't swing open their door and ask you how you are like we do in America. They actually talk to you through the door. They're kind of cautious, and they don't want to let anyone in their house who might do them harm. And so you knock on the door, and then they talk to you. They say, "Who's there?" through the door, and you say, "We're missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints." And they say, "What do you want?" And then you kind of have this conversation through a door. And sometimes you never actually get to see them. They decide they're not interested through the door, and then they say goodbye. Sometimes they'll open the door a crack, and you'll have a conversation through the crack. And then sometimes they'll, decide that they're interested, and they'll open the door, and we'll be able to give them a Book of Mormon or something.